Aha,
There we
what's
go.
up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Shredding Social with the everly talented Joe Wilson and just me. I get to hang out with Joe, and
Josh Pitts.
he basically looked good. So what is up? We hope you guys are having an incredible week. Every single Tuesday, Joe and I jump on here to help you shred social, to answer your questions, to help you through this journey that is social media. And today, more than ever, we have a topic that I think is incredibly relevant, Joe, especially because you and I, with Social Coach and Shred Media, helping people on their journey that is social media, sometimes it comes up the question of ethics and being able to use social media for business in the mortgage industry. So we're going to get into that. Before we do, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. Other than we are preparing for like a winter storm warning. We have we're supposed to be getting between 16 and 24 inches of snow within my valley within the next 24 hours. So, yeah.
Well, it's starting here, and it's still sunny right now, but we're expecting rain for the next 4 or 5 days. So that's all snow for you.
I was going to say, you guys get the rain, we'll take the snow, and I guess we'll just be grateful for the moisture we're receiving to fill up all those reservoirs. So we'll go with that. But Joe,
right.
you and I, every time we prepare for this, you and I kind of go back and forth on some ideas we want to be sharing. And you shared an idea and a topic with me that I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to discuss this. And we're going to be getting into a few different parts of this in particular, but the ethics of using social media in the mortgage industry. This is incredibly timely. This is incredibly important because honestly, when it comes down to it, there are some ethics. There are some things that we should really be keeping in mind when it comes to growing business ethically as mortgage professionals.
Right. Well, I think there's a difference between, and we should separate these two. There's ethics and there's compliance, right?
Love that.
And I think that ethics, first and foremost, is mostly talked about in the real estate world. You hear that all the time with those guys, right? And I don't know why that's not as big of a topic in the mortgage world, maybe because our regulations force us into an ethical position more often than not. Not saying that realtors are not ethical at all, but I think that we have today over time, now pre 2003 or 2005, that was a different story.
Different story.
Now that we, kind of in our industry have a lot of overseeing bodies to look into every inch of what we do, we're forced to be ethical. And that's a good thing, right? Compliance forces mortgage lenders to be put into positions to be ethical. But with social media, we now are entering into this whole new world of ethics that we have not talked about, are not legislated, or not even really considered by many. And it's an interesting time to be alive, I think. And so there's a couple different facets of ethics, but I think the first one is really, as a loan officer, and you as a currently licensed LO, myself as a former LO, our business, or my former business, and whatever, is really framed around referral partners and bringing business in from realtors, builders, et cetera, right? And that's no different on social media, but we need to do it in a little slightly different way of getting their attention and reaching out to them and trying to get them to do business with us. So when we think about ethics, I think there's a couple different things that maybe come in place. And I'm curious about your thoughts on where is that ethical line for a loan officer reaching out to a realtor on social media and trying to get them to do business with them.
Okay, so here's where there is an ethical line, and I'm so glad that we actually are discussing this, because this is actually something, once you and I kind of start tossing this idea around, I'm like, I want to discuss this, because I've even had a few questions in regards to this from our Shred U community. So I'm actually going to even further discuss this with our Shred U community later today. But there is an ethical boundary. And I always tell people right out the gate, if you are using social media purely for business, like if it is just business all the time, I think you do have an ethical requirement or responsibility to let people know right out the gate, like, hey, I'm here to do business. I don't want to do the personal side of social media. I'm strictly here to get your business and help you through the transaction. I really do think that is something. Now, Joe, I think you can ethically build relationships on social media in a very non-salesy way. Sure, you ultimately trying to get business. Of course you are. That's kind of what we're trying to accomplish here. What you and I are doing here is ultimately getting attention, but providing valuable information and valuable education when it comes to social media. So there's this trade-off. But when it comes to referral partners in particular, if you are just purely reaching out to them, engaging with them, just trying to get their business, I think you do have an obligation to let them know, like, hey, I'm here to do business. I want to help you grow your business. I'm here to grow my business. You don't want to be one of those shady mortgage professionals that just is kind of like the used car salesman type of guy. Like when you think of ethics, used car salesman, like ethics go out the door. It's like, yeah, you don't want to be one of those type of people. So in my opinion, Joe, there's definitely a right and a wrong way to be approaching it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on. And there's this never-ending question of should my social media be personal or should it be business only?
Right.
And you and I agree on this. We talk about this all the time. They should be one and the same, right? And so I think where ethics kind of comes into play is the way in which we reach out to these realtors.
I like that.
And you know, your intentions should be pure, right? If you're commenting on realtors' posts about their open house and you act as if you are a potential buyer, that's unethical, right? To get their attention, to get them then sell them on your services, that's not ethical in any form or fashion, right? But reaching out to them, asking a genuine question about the property, and then following up with, hey, I'm a local lender and I'd love to help you with this. That maybe comes down the line in the conversation a little bit. You don't have to be forthcoming right up front saying, I'm a lender and I want to know more about, or I want to work with you. You can build a relationship off of asking them about their business, right? Or about the community. You can be genuine in those questions without it being fake. But I don't think though, Josh, that we need to upfront disclose that we are loan officers and that we're trying to earn their business. I think that relationship does and can and should come first before you ask for the business.
Dude, that's it. Like the relationship has to come first. And if that's what you're focused on is that relationship out the gate, then it is like there's that line that you have not crossed yet. Mark Jarbo from Facebook, my opinion, you should be one or the other, either business or personal. Again, that's your take on it, Mark. Joe and I, being that we've done business and personal, I think they're one and the same as well. I do agree with Joe. I think there's a very, very fine line, especially in the world of social media. You can do business and all the time, like I mentioned at the very beginning. If business is your MO here on social media, sure, do that. But for me, social media means way more. The way I build relationships, the way I interact with people, the way I'm seeing friends and family and my community, the way I'm engaging with them, it is way more personal than it is business. So,
totally. The business always comes as a reflection of your personal relationship.
100%.
But Mark, I know many, many people that have been super successful keeping those separate completely.
You bet.
And you know, if that's who you are and what you want to do, go with it. What works for me might not work for you. And
you bet.
But I will tell you that I have a lot of really great relationships that are non-business with people in this industry that have then led to business transactions, right?
And Mark comments, you can have both with different pages. Oh man, that's a whole, me and Joe love to discuss that as well. We used to believe that as well, Mark, but I've changed my opinion in that too. So that's a whole nother topic. I don't want to get sidetracked on that, but Mark, great point. And even like, Mark, I'll reach out and chat with you. I want to have this discussion with you, Mark, but let's stay on this for ethics for just a minute, Joe, because you and I really were, as we were preparing for this. And there we go. We shared our screen. Hey, just so you guys know, me and Joe, we love AI bot. There you go. This is where Joe and my discussion came from today. But so let's talk about this. Like, I want to, on soliciting business in particular, because this was that topic you and I wanted to hit, is if you are doing it for soliciting business, make sure that you are upfront. You have to be transparent. You need people to know that. Don't be that person who is don't be those shady people on LinkedIn that are just coming in, like just doing it in the wrong way. You all know what I'm talking about. That's it. That is what it is. I'm going to put it to that.
But let's stay on that topic for a moment, because I think there is an ethical question about spamming people's DMs
100%
on LinkedIn. Like that literally, I don't know anybody who likes getting those unsolicited DMs. So my question is that ethical to do?
No, I do not think it is. I 100%. And you and I have had this conversation off record, but I'll be on record. When I get spam from recruiters or from tech companies, like I will message them and be like, this is not how you should be doing business here. Like, I'll be just flat, like, you are not going to win my business this way. Going back to even Mark's point, I want somebody to build a relationship with me, to build trust and confidence and respect with me prior to going and just trying to recruit me or ask for my business. That's why I think having a personal profile, having a personal brand on social media is so much more impactful. When I see somebody posting and adding value to me and to my life, I am much more apt when they send me a message like, hey, Josh, like, we've been connected here for a while. I would love the opportunity to chat, to get to know you better. Like, and what your business is doing, instead of just be like, hey, I've got the best tool for you. I've got that, like, my company can help you increase your ROI by 130% in the next 6 months. And it's like, oh my gosh, shut up. So I agree with you, Joe. I think there is an ethical line there that too many people cross, especially in the way of LinkedIn. Everybody's like, oh, it's a business to business platform though. Still.
It is cool. You know what though? Like, and I think there are ways to smartly send messages, but it's not only is it unethical, in my opinion, to blast out messages, is completely ineffective as well.
So ineffective.
And I think you run the risk of just pissing off too many people.
Agreed.
You may get some results, and I think that's where some of these companies come into play who execute on that, spam DM messaging. And you could do the same thing on, and we get this too. It's mostly from Bitcoin and Forex traders on Instagram and Facebook, but like, that's horrible, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about this actually brings up another ethical point, because I've been getting this a lot recently on Instagram. I'm getting tagged in some random people's stories. And and for like, Forex trading and things like that.
Yeah.
And so if the person is not really, like, you don't know them, or you don't they're not in the photo or the video or whatever, don't tag them.
Oh my gosh. Dude, you and I have very strong opinions on this. We've been part of groups. We've been part of, they call them engagement pods or engagement groups. And I'm just like, guys, that is not the way to be doing it. You should not be tagging somebody, like Joe just said, if you're not discussing them, if they don't have anything to do with what you're talking about, do not. Now, if you're sharing something that they like, if you're sharing a post and you want to go further into it, of course, tag that person into it. Sure. Or there's a group of people. Again, Joe and I do this. If we go to an event and we're putting out multiple pictures, and I put up 6 or 7 pictures, and there's multiple people, yes, I'm going to tag those people, and I'll even effectively tag their companies in it as well, because I want to give them recognition through their company. That is a standard practice. But again, to your point, Joe, don't just be tagging people and just so you can get in front of their community or their audience. That is a terrible. And I've told you, not only do I unfriend those people immediately, I block them. Like, I've done it to even people within the industry. People, especially if I've asked them, like, hey, unless this pertains to me or something I'm done or I'm saying, please don't tag me in it. If it happens again, it's like, okay, you're done. So
I think, again, there's an ethical line to walk there, right? Because you can. I think we see this a lot more on LinkedIn than maybe some of the other platforms. Although I gave you an example of what's happening on Instagram, but on LinkedIn in particular, there are some repeat offenders on there as well that will just tag everybody that they can think of to try to get the reach of their post broader, right?
100%.
So that's one way. That compared to what you're talking about, Josh, are two completely different tagging methodologies and that ethical line of walking, right? So just be careful with the way you do it. Be mindful and be thoughtful of those individuals that you're tagging, and do it with pure intent that, like, hey, they're actually, like, this is for the benefit of the person that you're tagging versus the benefit of you. And I think that's ultimately where the ethical line gets drawn, is what's the intention and the purpose behind your activity? Is it for a truly selfish reason, or is it really truly altruistic to help or light up that other individual?
Dude, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Joe, because I can tell, and you and I have been doing this long enough to know when somebody's doing it from the wrong intention. If they're doing it from a true place, like they tag me in something where they truly are trying to bring some type of benefit or value to the people that they're tagging, I'm like, okay, I get where you're coming from. But you and I see from a mile away when somebody's doing it from the wrong reasons. They're doing it from a purely like, look at me, I'm trying to get this attention. It's just like, don't do it that way. So I'm so glad you bring up that line of ethics. And the last one I want to end on is, as everybody saw, is there really is a line when it comes to handling negative when there comes to
Mm.
negativity, negative comments. Recently, our YouTube channel, received some negative. Actually, Mark Jarbo is a great example. He just commented something. He had a difference in opinion. You are more than welcome to put, like, respectively. I did
Please
not feel like,
actually. I love that.
And I hope Mark is on here. Mark, if you're on here, I hope you hear this, because I actually love the way Mark approached this. He had a difference in opinion, but he approached it in a very professional way. Just like, hey, this is the way I do that. Like Joe mentioned, there's no right way or wrong way. Sometimes we just do things differently, and you are absolutely more than welcome to express those opinions. Now, there's that fine line of ethics when it comes to like just being a troll, as I like to call them, and like negatively commenting or even like responding to negative comments. On our YouTube channel recently, we had a guy being incredibly negative and telling us, dude, why are you even posting anymore? You only get, a couple hundred views. Well, you should just stop, or you should at least buy views so you look like you're important. And I'm like, number one, that's not sustainable. Number two, I don't want to do, like, I don't want fake, like, I want to be real. And so we very respectively said, we appreciate your comments, but we'll continue to do the things that we have been doing because it's what's best for us. So when it comes to negativity and negative comments in particular, Joe, there is an ethical line. There is a code of ethics as well that we should be adhering to. And you and I say this, like, it goes back to like the rule of thumb. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Like, you just don't need to get involved in some conversations in social media.
Yeah, that's so true. The stat that I looked up for this was, and it's by Edelman, and it says 63% of consumers trust businesses that are transparent on social media, and 60% of consumers are more likely to recommend a brand that is transparent on social media. And that transparency is responding to negative clients or
100%.
negative comments, right? And in fact, there was another stat too, and I let me see if I can get this real quick. But here we go. This is by Podium, another Utah company here.
Yeah.
That 93% of the respondents to a survey said that online reviews impact their purchasing decisions. And this is crazy, 82% said that they specifically seek out negative reviews to see how the business responds.
Of course.
So that is incredible, right? I want to see nobody expects all roses and all positive reviews. In fact, when I see a business or an individual that has all positive reviews, it seems fake.
100%.
There's always going to be negative, and it's taking that negative and how do you respond to that is what makes you relatable and transparent, and allows individuals to see how you because there's going to be adversity in the mortgage process. That's just like
part of it.
There's never been a loan that even the clean vanilla loans have some problem in it, right?
100%.
It's how you fix those problems is truly why people want to work with you.
Dude, this is a great note to end on, Joe, because I couldn't have said it better myself. You literally, like, we all are imperfect, and the world, especially the social media world, is okay with you being imperfect. They're going to look for those because they are imperfect too, and they know it. So they're going to seek those negative reviews and see how you responded to them. So respond with kindness. As Gary Vaynerchuk said, I know you're not a huge fan of Gary, but kill him with kindness. That's my favorite thing. Like, this guy that was negative to us, like, I'm going to kill him with kindness too, because I guarantee when I responded to that guy, he was like, no, I want you to get mad. Like, people sometimes they want to get you all riled up, especially some of these social media groups within the mortgage industry. So don't fall into it. Stay positive. And really, when it comes to those line of ethics within this industry, there is a fine line. So make sure you are walking on the right side of it, because ultimately, Joe, as you and I both know, here in social media, people are seeing what is happening, and people have what I like to call a BS meter, and they can see through what's real and what's not. So
that's right.
Play the right line, and I promise you guys will do incredible things on social media. So, Joe.
Awesome. Let's stop.
Amazing show. I say that's it. Guys, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Make sure every single Tuesday you can join Joe and I sharing another incredible discussion about how you can shred social. Until next week, hope you guys have an incredible week, and we'll see you next